Oh shit, hold up.
Oh, that's
Fuck.
amazing. I think we literally just started.
Oh, goddamn.
No, you can go. I can distract everyone. Don't worry. Hey
Alright,
guys.
just distract him.
Hey there. Welcome to Dice Scum. This is Adam. I am totally by myself. Don't worry. The Randall is actually an illusion of my mind. It's fine. It's fine. We can do this. The show shall go on. So, actually, no, I can give you some details about the actual setting we're about to cover. So, back in the day, there was a really surprisingly popular independent comic run called Xenozoic Age. Xenozoic Age essentially is, I think the best way to describe it is it's kind of your 80s cheese, where due to unknown reasons, the world ended and dinosaurs are back, and there's also bad guys, like your standard 80s Raider bad guys. So it's up to a bunch of dudes in their cars to wander the wilderness and I don't know, punch brachiosaurs and fight gangbangers. But because of that, it actually was rather popular. And from what I understand, the guy behind it, I forget the name because I'm so good at this, he tried to turn it into a gigantic multimedia project. And I mean multimedia. You name it, he's tried it. You also will know this as Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. So basically, he got a deal with Capcom of all fucking things, and managed to get a beat 'em up made for his comic, where you pick what was it? I think you pick one of the four people, and you just run through a bunch of random bosses, and then one of them is a dude who's like, I'm going to turn into Dinosaur Man to rule the world, to own the chuds who, I don't know, made fun of me for not kissing a girl. It's pretty fucking cursed. But that's not the only multimedia project. They tried to make a live action show. Not a live action. They tried to make an animated cartoon, from what I understand. There were action figures, and there actually also is a tabletop game, which in this case is what we're going to look at. And by we, I'm using the royal we. Don't worry, Randall will appear at some point in the future. Don't worry, he's currently fighting the great ice beasts of the south. They've risen. So don't worry, he'll be here soon, eventually. Who knows? But what I do know is Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, the role-playing game. And it has that nice, it's not really timeless, but it kind of has that Bronze Age era comic vibe, which I like. I like the watercolors. I
Yeah.
don't know cars, but oh, who's this?
Hey, it's Randy. Randy Bobandy.
Hey, you managed to fight off the weird ice monsters from Antarctica.
Yes. I made ice cream from their bones.
Well, we're talking about Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I already went through the basic background in that some guy made a comic called Xenozoic Age. Since I
Yeah.
don't think you're that familiar. The best way to describe it is it's a little bit Mad Max, but not really, because the cars are really cool. And you've
Mhm.
punched dinosaurs and drug lords. Mainly
Alright. So
dinosaurs.
that's already sounding awesome.
And the dude really wanted to make this a multimedia project. He actually got into works with Capcom to make a beat 'em up game for it.
Ah.
It's called Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. This is the RPG book. He also had an animated show. Like he really tried to push it. Now I think he
never took
ultimately
off.
failed though. In that all of his other ventures just didn't quite make enough money, but he made a lot of bank on the comics at least, because this was back when, selling 50,000 copies was actually considered shit. You wanted to sell like 100,000. That would be considered okay. Because this was 90s comics where, yeah, you still had to pay like $2, but you had good runs like the X-Men, which had 20 years of good comics. This is before Spider-Man sold his soul to the devil to save his aunt.
Wait, what?
That happened one more day. Literally everyone in Marvel was telling Joe Quesada and the vice president, what the fuck are you doing? I refuse to do this.
What?
And they forced it through, and throughout it all, the actual Marvel staff's arguments were used by other Marvel characters because even the writers I hate doing this. You're paid to write this, so it must happen.
Okay. But holy shit. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Let's get into it.
Yep, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. And you see some kind of classic splash panels, which I think are from the comic itself. Lady beating up some Ooga Booga man in a tunic. Alligators in the sewer. That's supposed to be the sewers of New York, I think. The ruined sewers of New York.
Yeah, of course.
How do you not know One More Day, says Imsit. Well, because One More Day is shit.
Because I don't read fucking comics.
Comics are for losers. Losers and speculators.
Yeah.
And I say this as a man who really loves the Silver Age of comics, where you could build a giant Nazi death robot named Neutro, the Destroyer, and have Captain America punch it. And he wins.
I don't know if you're making that up or not.
There is a giant nuclear death robot named Neutro. It was not a Nazi robot. Those were the sleepers.
Okay.
The sleeper program, because the Red Skull's I'm going to kill America beyond the grave with my 3 death robots that form into a giant death robot. Silver Age was goofy, but there was a lot of... Anyway, here's a dinosaur kicking in a card table game. They could just kind of Kool-Aid man through walls. The dinosaurs are just like that. I think he has a concussion though from it. Also, you like the giant revolver shotgun because this is a post-apocalypse kind of.
Yeah.
So the art and design, these are the people who worked on it. And fun fact, this was made by Games Developers Workshop. Yes, the fuckers behind Warhammer made this.
Wait, really?
Games Designer Workshop, baby.
Xenozoic.
Yeah. Oh, also the creator's Mark Schultz. I did not remember his name. I am sorry, Mark. The table of contents, which is pretty straightforward. This is a 90s era book. The years of fire. The first evidence of the onset of the cataclysm came in the mid-1980s with the discovery of localized holes in the ozone layer. Hey, remember when that was a big concern? Goddamn air conditioners killing our ozone layer. Though the Antarctic hole was discovered first, within a few years a similar hole was just discovered over the North Pole, which is true. There were holes up there too.
Yeah.
At the same time, depletion of the oxygen-generating rainforest, coupled with massive releases of carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, methane, brought on a global warming trend. The earliest evidence of this trend was a multi-year drought in sub-Saharan Africa. A 3-year drought in North America followed in the 80s, and in the 90s was characterized by an extended drought in the Mediterranean, as well as renewed droughts in Africa and the central United States. By the mid-90s, there was no longer any doubt that the Earth was entering what scientists called the Little Cretaceous period. In the actual Cretaceous period... Okay, yeah, there's some random dinosaur facts.
Alright.
Oh, Games Workshop, not Games Designer Workshop. Yeah, I could be wrong. I get them confused somewhat. They went defunct in 96, but they made a lot of games. They were around from the 70s to the mid-90s. So basically, we're in a global warming catastrophe. Industrial pollution combined with ultraviolet poisoning. Because there's no ozone layer, so you're just getting fried by radiation from the sun. Began to kill the ocean plankton on a large scale, not only affecting the aquatic food chain, but also further reduced oxygen generation. This, by the way, is harder sci-fi than Hardwired Island already. The book where you punch dinosaurs and run them over with your car has put slightly more thought into its setting than Hardwired Island, the anime-inspired sci-fi punk dystopia. I can feel my heart already fucking treading. Anyway, so yeah, things are horrible. Food production's collapsing. Malthusianism at its work. Populations are crashing because, well, no food, lowering oxygen. People are dying by the bucket loads. Radical
Holy
Malthusians preached genocide as a tool of natural survival and gained power in many countries. A bunch of basically fucking Thanoses from the Marvel Cinematic Universe are elected. It's like, we must kill more people. That'll save the environment. So, in a desperate attempt to meet food needs, though, Japan creates a bioengineered substance, an organic compound understood only by a handful of chemists, known as the elixir vitae, the vital elixir. This compound dramatically sped up the evolution of single-celled plants and animals. Soon, examples of life long since extinct on Earth were replicated in labs. They literally, that's like, let's make evolution
fucking
gas.
science! Science is magic.
Science is scientific equipment is seen as wizarding tools by a sufficiently advanced civilization against a sufficiently inadvanced one. We made a gas that turns plants into dinosaurs.
Hey, it's science. I don't gotta explain it.
By 2010, offshore trilobite beds were established to feed the hungry Japanese population. Fun fact, did you know a lot of trilobites actually have a shell partially made out of actual fucking rock?
Really?
Yeah, there's several species that where the compound eyes are made out of the same type of stuff as sand. So like their
Oh
outer
yeah, I
shell
remember
is
that.
so it's like the xenomorph from Alien. So you got to crack open the rock shell to get the goo. Also, do you really think trilobites would be that appetizing? I mean, if you don't just die horribly from whatever allergies you might have to a thing that didn't exist.
Oof.
I mean, aren't they basically like horseshoe crabs, like nothing inside them?
I, I don't know.
Isn't this just Sam Hyde's tech talk? It has some of the energy. This feels like something Sam Hyde might do as a shitpost, like as an Onion tier article, yeah. The 1980s had witnessed a series of devastating earthquakes in California, Mexico, and Armenia. The following 2 decades of comparative calm. But then the geologic violence resumed with renewed fury in 2011. The second major eruption of Mount St. Helens in a century was followed shortly by major volcanic activity all along the border of the Pacific Rim. While the world raced to deal with catastrophic destructions and casualties, a major earth tremor shook the central United States. The long-awaited quake along the New Madrid fault line has come at last! And with the violence that succeeded all... okay, so how familiar are you with the New Madrid fault line?
Vaguely.
So for those of you not in the know, there is a fault line in the central United States. It's not very active because... See, there's other areas that tend to erupt more, and this was just kind of the cause of like some minor buckling. The one time it actually went, the earthquake was so fucking nasty, the Mississippi River went backwards for a couple of days.
Oh.
It went upstream for like a day. So, yeah, another hyper earthquakes. And then simultaneous earthquakes and volcanism in Italy. The entire Earth basically said, fuck it, and created a worldwide earthquake. And as the tremors continued unabated, new volcanic cones formed on a daily basis. An alarming pattern began to emerge. The planet was undergoing a major increase in tectonic activity, which showed every sign of accelerating. Furthermore, volcanic ash thrown into the atmosphere was settling on the remains of the ice cap, reducing reflectivity and thus accelerating their melting. So fucked. This is fucked.
I like how it just goes all in grimdark at the start.
Yeah, it's pretty great. As research into the phenomenon continued, work was begun on gigantic underground shelters in geologically stable areas in the planet's crust. Since no one
Oh,
could tell,
the designers of Fallout had to have read this.
yeah, because this is to give you an idea. Xenozoic started in the 80s, I believe. So they might have actually taken a little bit of inspiration from that.
Yeah.
Since no one could tell how long the shelters would be needed, they were designed to be completely self-sustaining ecosystems. Construction workers labored at a fever pitch as the geologic and ecologic destruction increased. The resultant tsunami scoured the landscape clean as far north as the old waters of the Mississippi River. The first shelters were ready by 2015, and at first there were armed battles at the gate. As the global geologic disaster increased, however, surface travel became increasingly impossible, and soon only those people actually working on the shelters had the ability to occupy them. By 2020, the churning, spitting earth came to a boil. Billions died, and entire species were consumed. The few humans huddled in their scattered iron and steel tombs and waited. The years of darkness. So, for most inhabitants, the wait was pretty brief. Few areas were immune to the tremendous geological forces, and many shelters simply disappeared into the shifting, sliding Earth's crust. imagine you're your Fallout bunker, and all of a sudden you get yeeted into the Earth's core. The miracle was that any shelter survived at all. Those that did survive the quakes and movement were microcosms of the societies they left behind, governed by the remnants of political, technological, and managerial elites of their society. The shelter drew water from pure underground springs, power from geothermal, and food from hydroponic algae tanks. You survived on eating algae. The shelters had been designed to last for years, but the years turned to decades as the machinery began to break down. Humans had no experience with designing permanently self-sustaining ecosystems, and there was little opportunity for trial and error. After about a century, the deterioration reached crisis proportion. At this point, a change in the leadership in the shelters began to take place. Small groups of people in each community emerged as the new and powerful leaders, the mechanics. Tech cults! Only the mechanics understood the life-giving machines and could keep them running. While shelters had originally been ruled by the elites of the surface world, politicians and industrialists, their power waned as the mechanics became the only group capable of guaranteeing survival. While the previous unspoken aim was to preserve the positions of privilege, the shelter societies now reorganized with the goal of maintaining their ecosystem for the benefit of the group as a whole. Communist revolutions. You like where this is going?
Oh boy.
Gradually, also, the mechanics began to sense a pattern to the life in the shelter and began to understand the intricacies of delicately balanced ecosystem. Even they might not have survived were it not for the Grith. Oh shit, here we go. The Grith were an ancient race which predated humanity, but which had never developed a technology of their own, and had lived in isolation.
We're getting filler men!
And had carefully lived in isolation for tens of thousands of years. To avoid contact with humans, the Grith had taken to living in caverns deep beneath the Earth's surface. This is amazing. They had long ago mastered the techniques of maintaining a subterranean ecosystem, and have now carefully shared their secrets with the mechanics. Humankind survived, led by the mechanics and their invisible mentors, the Grith! They're guided by literal non-humans. The ancient predated cursors guiding society. This is beautiful. For 450 years, people survived in these tunnels, and although each shelter was completely isolated from the others, a pattern developed in each one. There was a growing understanding of humankind's place in the ecosystem, and a growing awareness of somehow humanity's ignorance of the place that brought on the cataclysm. The lessons learned from life in this precariously balanced ecosystem were formalized into a code of living. The machinatio vitae, the machinery of life.
Yes.
The basis of the
Oh,
machinery of life was an acceptance of humanity's place as one element of the system, an element no more or less important than others. It was a humble acceptance of the order as it existed, rather than an aggressive attempt to impose a different order on the world. By the same token, it recognized humanity's unique place in the natural order as the thinking animal, and accepted its responsibility to maintain the balance. Although mechanics enjoyed an understanding the human places in the order, much was lost during this period. The arts, unessential to daily survival, languished and disappeared. Non-essential people were weeded out, sometimes brutally, and society developed into an unreasoning prejudice against people who did not work with their hands. The mechanics were single-minded in their devotion to their machinery and the balance of life in the shelters. So, this is basically saying artists get the rope. And
Based.
this is surprisingly based. Reminder: the man who wrote this is an artist.
Yeah.
But he does kind of give nuance because this does lead to narrow-mindedness.
Yeah.
And here's what happens. Eventually, even the skills of the mechanics were no longer equal to the tasks of keeping the machinery running. If humanity would survive, rated
Oh
above.
fuck, my oh,
Hmm?
my mic just shat itself for a bit. All right.
Very unfortunate. The first small parties of brave men and women who ventured to the surface discovered a world dramatically different. Alterations in geology and climate were to be expected and were easily explained. What could be impossible to explain was the unprecedented eclectic ecosystem. Plant and animal life from every geologic age of the Earth was simultaneously present on the surface. How could things like dinosaurs and mammals, many extinct for millions of years, evolved and repopulated the planet in scarcely more than a century? Well, you see, life finds a way. Just like my paycheck. Thank you, Colin Trevorrow, for allowing me to half-ass myself in Jurassic Park World 2 and 3. It was the easiest $1 million I made. I'm Jeff Goldblum. Explaining the new world was not the most expressing concern. Well, no shit. It's surviving. So they began farming, hunting, and rebuilding the world, but always with a strong regard for maintaining the natural balance of life. 100 years later, humankind had re-established a precarious foothold on the surface, but life is hard. Each of the widely scattered surviving shelters has formed the basis for a tribe. In some areas, considerable artifacts of the old world were recovered and made life easier, but in most areas they had to start from scratch. This explains like your weird future sci-fi people versus the cavemen.
Yeah.
Well, most
It's
tribes
very
Hmm?
this is very Thundar-esque.
I know, it has the same energy, but it's like someone
Yeah.
decided to sit down and write, okay, how can I explain the stupidity of Thundar in 30 minutes? Let's go. While most tribes had established various forms of government, usually based on some form of elected council, the spiritual leaders of the communities continued to be the Old Bloods mechanics, or just the Old Bloods, due to their direct descent from the original mechanics. There is a growing resistance to the teaching of the Old Bloods. Poaching, hunting animals for luxury goods, is on the rise. Many farmers agitate for greater use of technology to tame the land, while few dispute the precepts of the machinery of life. Many argue for a more liberal interpretation and wonder if the Old Bloods have become so immersed in dogma they lost the flexibility to deal with the constantly changing environment.
You need to protect the life force.
You're
Life
joking? I
cycle.
think there might be like there might be something like that actually in here. We don't know. The old ways seem to be slipping, and no one has a clear idea on what the new order will grow to replace them. Only violence and change are certain. And then we get into... Here we go. Here's the history of the world. Game overview. So this is just some details on the game. Yeah, it's just basic. How does RPG work? As this is written, the early issues of the magazine are being reprinted in color, but hey, it's Shilling Marvel Comics Group. Under their
Yes,
epic
got a
label.
shill.
Translations of the comics and graphic novels have appeared in several foreign languages. The game is set in the region inhabited by the tribe of the City in the Sea, which means fuck all unless you've read Xenozoic Age. Players will generate characters representing tribesmen and women from various walks of life. So yeah, basically you're the troubleshooters for the machine cult. Dice rolling conventions. They use 6-sided and 10-sided dice. You need at least one of the first type and 2 of the second. Play will be much easier if you have a bunch of them, though. Sometimes die roll results must be, standard mechanics.
Yeah.
Gender-specific pronouns. Wait, what? In 1990, okay. For simplicity of form, the male pronoun is used in most cases in these rules. This should not be interpreted as suggesting the female characters are precluded from any game activity. Readers of the continuing storyline will recognize that the women of the Xenozoic era are as capable and as dangerous as the men. Basically, they didn't want to... That's their cover my butt.
Yeah.
Might be fun to do a paranoia crossover with this. Oh, like, this is what's outside of Friend Computer's compound?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. Friend
Paranoia, but
Computer is just
here.
like one of the ones that just sunk really deep into a tectonic plate or something.
Yeah, and that's why it's so fucked. Here's some pretty beautiful art of... I don't know what the fuck these are. The things from the Moomins? What's that creepy thing from the Moomins? Are there...
You mean the Gleeper Glorper?
Maybe? I don't know. It looks like something from the Moomins. Her reaction's pretty spot on. Actually, no. No, I just realized this reminds me of, like, Bill Watterson's Calvin and Hobbes takes on aliens early on.
Yes!
It has a bit of Calvin and Hobbes energy to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see one of these spaceman spiff battling one of these things.
Yeah, and it just turns out it's just a bunch of his classmates he's wrecking with dodgeballs he stole from the recess locker.
Yes.
The Calvin and Hobbes RPG, shitpost RPG could be pretty funny. So here's how you make your characters. They have backgrounds, attributes, experience, skills, and equipment. As for attributes, their strength, agility, constitution, charisma, intelligence, and education. So basically kind of D&D standards.
Yep.
Random generation. In this method, each attribute is determined by rolling 2d6 minus 2. Reroll anything that results in a 0. And it means your stats can be from 1 to 10. Anything less than 30 points, you can add attribute points to bring it up to 30. Or you can do the equivalent of point buy, where you start with 32 and then you just kind of plug and play.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the worst way I've ever seen strength described in a book. Strength, the numerical quantification of a character's muscular power. What the fuck?
It's like that's so good. Oh god, that's computery.
Feels like something.
Like,
feels like something.
I gotta say, I just want to do like an antidote. Like a few days ago, I think I got like an AI generated ad on YouTube.
Oh yeah, they're starting to really spam those.
Wait, it's a thing?
I feel like that's a thing for a lot of the crappy, those crappy ads they do for YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
I feel like they do run those through an AI script somehow.
Well, what I got was this like really weird AI generated voice that was the way it was saying sentences that didn't mean anything. Like progress is the forward to the jade forest of humanity. It was legitimately kind of creepy. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this or not.
I've not been experiencing that. Instead, what's been happening is my phone has been repeatedly assaulted by, those scams where they try to say, "Oh no, your bank account's been closed."
Yeah.
Like the worst version spelling of it. Like we're talking. You have to almost try to spell this bad. Like not even Indian show Bob Vagine. No, like worse than that. Like if you just
Ugh.
smashed your face into like if you had your cat type on a keyboard, like this bank you don't have account at. Your account been
That
closed, and closed is spelled with like a K and there's no O, so it's like
so
closed.
they taught a chimpanzee to type, and they chained him up, and they're making him make shitty YouTube ads or
I think
shitty scam ads.
meanwhile
Oh god, imagine if this is like some random outfit out there somewhere that's literally just using a chimpanzee to generate these.
I'm almost
Like it's a
envisioning,
shack in Indonesia, and they have like an orangutan chained to a computer.
and they bribe him with cigarettes.
Yes.
I'm just envisioning like they just ran no for your horrible ad. What they did is they ran the script through a Markov generator and then just had a text to speech device fucking read it out.
Yeah, that's legitimately what I think they did.
Either that or someone with massive schizophrenia wrote it, and then because they mush mouth harder than Rich Evans and myself, they're like, I'm not gonna say, like, I need to tell the truth, so I gotta run it through the computer because they'll trust the computer. I can use the computer to stop the mind control and alien beams. If only they know. If they know the truth, we can go to the cult, to our compound, and finish the ritual. We'll all ascend and kill the lizard people. I'm
Oh
not
boy,
trying to say
I
that
like.
it's written by a Heaven's Gate tier cult, but it has that energy.
Yeah, yeah. I really got like cold energy from it.
I got cult who will end in fire and tears.
And what else is gonna end in fire and tears? Education.
A measure of the character's performance in a formal academic setting. This attribute determines how far a character can get in a university and serve as a prerequisite to a certain form of higher education. In a setting where
So
we're
wait,
fucking tribal.
I mean, there were universities back in the medieval era.
Yeah, but that's like, was it like we're talking medieval. This is almost Stone Age to some of them.
Yeah, this is it's caveman university. It's taught by a velociraptor because they're smart.
Just, oh, that actually would be fun. Like talking dinosaurs would actually be pretty fun.
That's what this should have had. It should have had like intelligent dinosaurs. It should have been a Flintstone.
I
Oh, this
I
you
think
could
they
run a
actually did.
Flintstones game with
No,
this.
I think they actually. There might be subplots where like here are some genetically augmented dinosaurs that have the intelligence of humans. You got to punch. I know in the beat 'em up game, like there's a dude whose whole thing is I inject people with this thing and they turn into dinosaurs. As per experience, you're gonna have to carry out dangerous and difficult tasks. So that's what experience points are. A character starts out at age 17 with certain minimum skills. They then enter a career. A character may enter any career for which they meet the attribute prerequisites, which is actually very similar
Oh,
to AD&D.
yeah.
AD&D in first edition. Let me tell you, people say Bard is the hardest thing to enter, and that's mainly because I think their stats have to be all high. I think Paladin's
Yeah.
still nastier, especially if you do roll, 3d6 in order.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paladin only needs like one really good stat, but if you don't got it, you're fucked. University of Uga. Yeah, the University of Ugg, where you can specialize in hitting with stick. Where'd you learn to fight like that? Me am graduate of Ugg University with baccalaureate punch people degree. I don't know why I'm just envisioning a Neanderthal in a fucking cap and gown, and it's hilarious. His degree is just in the art of punching people in the face.
No, no, his degree is like a stone tablet.
And it's a crude pictoglyphic image of a fist breaking a person's face open.
No, no, it's like two stick figures, and one of them is in a cap and gown.
Nothing in these rules prevent a character from entering the game at age 17, although we cannot imagine why anyone would want to do that. Assuming a character does enter a career, roll 3d6 for the number of years spent in the career prior to the start of the game, and add this to determine the age. Thus, all characters who have a prior career will at least be 20 years old, and may be as old as 35. The average starting age is 27.5.
That's oddly specific.
That's kind of a cursed way to generate characters, but okay.
Yeah.
Obtaining skills. You obtain skills initially in 3 ways: background, career, and bonus skills. As a character is awarded skill levels for career, the player adds them to the previous skill level. Okay. Contacts are, we know what contacts are. They're the people you can rely on and talk to. To determine initiative, roll 2d6 plus 2, round up. Round up? Oh, wait, do you roll the 2d? Oh, no, it's 2d6 divided by 2 because I am retarded. I thought it was a plus because they used that version of the division symbol, but it's like in a shit format, so you kind of can't tell. I thought that was a plus sign. Add 1 to the initiative of explorer, diplomats, hunters, guards, criminals, old blood mechanics, and nomads. What are any of those? Fuck if I know. Skills and blah 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 blah. Throw range. The distance in meters a character can throw a 1 kilogram weight is called the throw range. Very specific. Base hit number. So that's what you need to hit at that level.
All right, so it's C's.
A base hit
Okay.
number is the D10 chance of hitting a target with an aimed shot.
Oh, I'm getting called off for dinner, so I'll be back.
Don't worry, guys. We can continue. Oh, what the fuck is this comic down here? Back in the days, I worked down in the catacombs. I studied under Scharnhurst herself. Why, I even met the great Dr. Fessenden. And I made the right contacts to ensure that I could get some of this here pre-cataclysmic equipment for my own use. And it's like some fucking... I don't even know how to explain it. It's Buck Rogers tier vacuum tube technology. I have no idea what this little... maybe it's just they have the rights to parts of the comics, but that's something. So most careers give you equipment, and for explanation of money, you have to go over there. So we're not doing that. And here's some of the classes, actually. You got your criminal, which I find it fun that you actually get as a contact either a manager or a politician. Just a little bit of a nod there. You start with a gun. Gold dollars. Oh, and they even have the requirements. So these are the basic level of entry you need. So you need to be kind of strong and charismatic to be a criminal. So I guess you need to actually have a personality if you're going to, I don't know, mug people in the back alley of the ruins of a Denny's. Doctors, education of 9 plus, that's fair. Engineers, not as much. Explorer, diplomats is kind of the bard level, where you need kind of a lot. And these are all the skills you get out of it, too. All right, what? Yeah, there's a lot of... Here's even more. There's quite a bit, actually. Character generation example 1. So this is just the process on how to actually make a character. It's pretty solid, I think. It's relatively quick to kind of set up. So first off, you roll for your age, because of course you do. And then you just kind of, you roll 2 dice, subtract 2, and you get the stats. And then if you get under 30, you just kind of put in a couple points. And then from there, you just kind of, you put in your, let's see, the attributes. So you just pick your class. And you get the skills. Do you just get the skills as it is? Yep, you do. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty simple, actually. Character creation for this isn't that hard. There's Mactondo. We ought to see the camp soon. I wonder why they don't have lookouts posted. I don't know why this comic's here. I feel like they know they're supposed to have art, and they have permission to use the comics, but it it feels like they just have random shit and they're just kind of shoving it in. And here's the character sheet, just filled out, and it gives you some details. Another example, we can fucking move on. This is just repeating to make sure you know. Equipment. So this is all the equipment you get. These items, which have only a dollar price, are available either through normal channels from the tribe or from the black market. If it's obtained from the tribe, the price must be paid in credits, and the character must have a good reason for requiring the item if it's unusual or specialized. Dollars are also the credit price when obtained from the tribe. If it's obtained from the black market, it has to be paid in gold because, hey, it's the post-apocalypse, baby. Fiat currency, that shit don't matter. That shit don't matter. And unlike Fallout, you can't use bottle caps, bubby. You gotta, fuck that. You ain't using bottle caps. What crack are you smoking? Gold, motherfucker. We're going back to the gold standard. Oh, there's a part of my brain that wants to go into a little bit of the numismatic. I think that's the term for the study of coins. 'Cause there's just some silly things I can remember. Like fun fact, copper coinage doesn't really exist. Instead, they're usually made instead out of what's called bilan. What's bilan? It's essentially you take silver and you determine how much of it is in your copper piece. The copper is just a medium for silver. Just a random fun fact. So the following types of food are available. Uncooked produce. Most food is sold uncooked, but ready to prepare. In the city is usually made up into meal rations, of which is sufficient for one meal. Active adults eat 2 meals a day. Pre-adolescent children eat about one. It's about a gold dollar per meal. Holy shit, 2.5 pounds for a fucking meal? That that that's a lot. It says 1 kilogram, but that's like 2.2 pounds. That's quite a bit. We're talking that's some serious gluttony. They still eat good apparently in the post-apocalypse. If you can eat 4 pounds of food a day. And then there's wilderness rations. So fresh produce goes bad pretty quickly, so you don't want to use that if you're going on an adventure. So instead, you got wilderness rations. These are more costly due to the extra labor involved in their preparation. Not really. I mean, pemmican takes the time. Oh, this from Coyote. This would make an interesting low tech Lost World and BattleTech. Yeah, it actually kind of would. Fun fact about pemmican, and any durability ration. It's not that it's actually complicated to make. It's that it takes fucking time to set up. Like hardtack, it's more that you just kind of need to dry it out completely. It's all about time. And the same applies to actually pemmican, which, if you're wondering, pemmican is okay, let's just take the stuff that I'd use for beef jerky, like a mixture of trimmings and maybe higher quality cuts from the animal, and dry that shit out to the point where it becomes a fucking powder. And then I mix it in with lard. And if you're feeling really fancy, you add in your salt, your berries. You're basically eating the world's saddest meatloaf, but it's like half fat. Don't get me wrong, it'll get you going, but it's not particularly flavorful, even if you get the really fancy stuff. As for hardtack, well, if you're wondering, the trick to actually eating that shit is to soak it up and have fun with weevils. That's something that these people have to deal with again. Weevils. But hey, there's also prepared meals. So in meeting places, sometimes you actually get to go out and eat stuff. And it's usually with a nice pint. These meeting houses are where the most shady businesses are conducted. So if you're going out for a beer, you're in the criminal underbelly. And as for strong drink, that's just how they store surplus grain. In reality, in reality, was usually just a trade commodity. It was just a way for trade commodity, and also because you could trust beer way more than you can trust water. That's why the alcoholism level of a lot of European nations are quite high. And actually, just pre-sanitation of water era world, you either drank liquor, usually light liquors, very weak ales, very weak beers, or you would have coffee or tea. Basically, something that prevents the bacteria from kicking your ass. Anyway, after food, you get explosives. And they go in some actually more details about that, which is fair. The most common explosives used by engineers are dynamite, TNT. Then there's plastic explosions. So in this post-apocalyptic society, the concept of C4 and its related compounds are still a thing. That's what plastic explosives are. Engineer demolitions kit. This allows you to rig explosive charges and fuse them for detonation. So, and they further divide it into the pieces for it. So this is your engineer kit. They actually put thought on all of this. That's kind of neat. No, seriously, that's actually pretty neat. Like, they have the full kit, and then they just kind of divide it into what you would need. No, I actually really like that. Like, it's a little obsessive, but it's just nice little touches like that. Especially if you're a particular persnickety GM. Oh, Jesus, it keeps going. Yeah, this is the full kit, baby. Oh my god. Oh, they even have generators. So there's a variety of these. They require electricity in order to function. And this gives the list of the power consumption in kilowatts of each electrical equipment item. These pieces of equipment, which are listed as vehicle power, may only function when they are in the vehicle or when hooked to a generator. And they can power equipment as long as the total power consumption is less than or equal to output. The generator must be operating when used to recharge, but no power consumption is charged against capacity. They don't actually specify how the power source works. These are just what you have. So you can get from 1.5 kilowatts, which costs about 200 gold dollars, to 500 kilowatts. Oh, they actually do go through fuel consumption too. And the 500 kilowatt ones are pretty fucking pricey. Here it is. There's that Buck Rogers shit. Oh, how long were these guys living underground, Imsit? I think about 500 years. From the history, they talk at least 450, and I think they went another century before they were forced to go up above ground. So, noticeably longer than the Fallout period. They actually stayed under there for hundreds of years. And they survived because of pre-humanity ancient race that lived under the ground. That's how they survived. They talked to the pre-human race. They talked to the Vril. I forget what they're called. I think they're called the Girith, actually, but still. Surprisingly, a freezer actually is cheaper than a generator, which I think is a little bit funny. Mainly because of how valuable something like a freezer would be in a post-apocalypse society. I mean, it could store up to about how much? 1 cubic foot freezer capable of preserving food or medical supply? Something like this, if we're talking like back in the day, there's a reason why you actually back in the day could make, so mole men know about C4. Yeah, they know how to still make Semtex. How much TNT do you need to blow up a beach Gigantosaurus? Well, the problem is Gigantosaurus is not actually an ocean-going dinosaur relative. From what I understand, Wander, I think it's the big fuck off T-Rex thing. I think Gigantosaurus either relates to that or another one of those. What are they called? Sauropods. Those big long neck ones. Fun fact: the largest of those bastards is still the Argentinosaurus because they found one with a neck so fucking big that it's ridiculous. If I remember right, I think Argentinosaurus's neck bone is the size of a small child or a human, like a manlet. And that's just the thickness of its vertebra. That's like how tall it is if you just put the spinal cord down. Dinosaurs got pretty fucking big, land-wise. Their relatives in the sea? No, whales kick their ass. Portable heaters, which are suitable for one average-sized room, not womb. That's a different product, and I thank you, slur. Oh, you have a fridge. These are the fridges. Here's your hand tools, which just kind of anything. I find it interesting that something like basic tool kit is still $200, because a lot of those basic items are not that complicated to make. Like, to give you an idea, you can make a variety of hammers pretty simply. Like a fucking rock is a hammer. Is it a good hammer? No, but it does the job. As for wrenches, you'd be surprised at what you can substitute for it. Same with pliers. As for screwdrivers, I mean, if you need like a fine screw, like, you know, those really tiny Phillips head ones, I could see that being very expensive. As for power tools, they're actually surprisingly cheap. In my opinion, they're kind of surprisingly cheap. Wheeled vehicle tools. These are specialized tools for repair and maintenance of wheeled vehicles. So these are the things you need if you want to fix your car to, I don't know, punch dinosaurs from. Are you really fucking telling me a shovel is $300? Really? Or is it you get all of them? They don't really specify. Chat, do you think for excavating tools it's $300 for a fucking shovel? While you're musing on that, let's see what else we got. Small arms tools, we call them gunsmithing, but okay. Electrical repair tools. Wait, really? That thing's even cheaper than just the... Oh, okay. An arc welder. $500, huh? The portable machine shop is very expensive, obviously. And lockpick tools. I guess you just get the full collection. I think that's maybe how it works. If that's the case, I can kind of see it. Radio. This is a very heavy vacuum tube. Two-way radio with a range of several hundred kilometers. Remember vacuum tubes, baby? Oh, you thinking maybe it is? Yeah, I think you're right. So, $300. I still don't see the price on it though. You know, like I don't see why it would be that relatively expensive. Shovels are actually pretty simple to make. Same with picks. And their substitutes, like they've been a thing since like the ancient Egyptians. It's not to give you an idea. You can if you need stone cutting tools, you know how you can do that. All you gotta do is get a copper saw, like basic smelting of copper, turn it into a saw, and then you pour sand on it because the sand serves as kind of a gritting tool, which allows you to cut better. Still find it funny that radio kits still use vacuum tubes, though. Only a few radios have been renovated, and they were used to keep in touch with the research stations. Yeah, there's no way the shovel should be that expensive. I blame the moleman. I think it's because you're supposed to get like a whole bunch of those tools, but like you can make a fucking shovel out of the earliest and simplest shovel is just a fucking stick. It's just a big stick you shove into the fucking ground. Like shovels are pretty simple tool. I don't know. I don't know. It has the same energy, cursed energy as a hammer, which I call rock. Vision device. Four binoculars. Four binoculars are cheaper than a fucking shovel. Okay, so shovels, very expensive. Like, you don't understand. That's like some lost technology shit. But making simple glass optical devices? Nah, man. That shit, we kept that science, baby. We can make a whole bunch of fucking lenses for cheap. Like, come on. Glass, that shit's like the cheapest shit in the world to work with. What? What? What do you mean we need to know how to actually make a convex structure that allows us to amplify the image at least twofold to make it a valuable set of binoculars? Oh, fuck! It starts simple, but the shovel, though. The shovel is a very hard device to master. Like, we need to figure out how to stamp fucking pig iron and nail it through a piece of wood we found on the ground. That shit is difficult lost technology from before the mole men saved us. The art of making shovels, that went away. The last guy who knew how to make shovels, he was killed by a velociraptor 20 years ago. What the fuck? Telescopic rifle sight being $500. That I can maybe see that because it's a specialized piece of kit. But if you can make a fucking binocular for $100 and you get them for like $25 each, why can't you just, I don't know, fucking cut the binocular? Oh, is it? Oh, 4x zoom binoculars maybe. I still reiterate my purpose. Why can't I take these shitty fucking binoculars right here? See these? See these? Why can't I just rip off one of the lenses and then, I don't know, using my basic fucking Iron Age technology smithing, which it's not that hard. Like, if we're talking like like, to give you an idea, this is an art currently in use today around the world. We're talking like cursed slamfire shotguns here. You're telling me I can't just cut a binocular set in half and put that on a rifle and still get the benefit of a telescopic sight? Now, don't get me wrong, it'd be a piece of shit. It'd be a big piece of shit compared to the actual material, but still. Oh, this is fucking hilarious. Telescopic rifle sight? Oh man, no, you don't understand. The art we know how to make 4x zoom glass. Like, the ability to do that, simple. Lenses are simple, but the rifle scope, hard as fuck. But like, what you should do, here's some infrared goggles, which don't need power, by the way. Infrared goggles are cheaper than a telescopic rifle sight. They're You probably need a license to use that scope. Oh, we're not in Britain though. We're not in good old Blighty. A white light spotlight powered by a vehicle. Oh, here's some medical supplies. $1,000 for basic anesthetic. So, have fun. Have fun being in hideous amounts of pain. Antibiotic liquid, which requires refrigeration. Oral, which does not. Oral antibiotics cost $250 more per 100 units. It is nice to know that even in post-apocalyptic America, that we have the same problems when it comes to affording healthcare. Oh no. Oh no, I can't escape modern day. Help me, chat. On the bright side though, plasma $10. Yeah, blood plasma $10. You lost a lot of fluid because some dinosaur punched you in the face and you bled a lot because you have hemophilia. Well, fuck you, pal. $10 to not die from the lack of blood pressure in your veins. As for surgical equipment costing $2,000, I can believe it, but I also cannot believe it, if you get what I mean. Mainly because, to give you an idea, you know, it's a very weird, fucked up way you can get a very effective scalpel. Now, don't get me wrong. It'd still be kind of expensive, but here's a fucked up fact. Did you know that we've actually experimented with making obsidian scalpel blades quite a bit? It's weird because obsidian's kind of that weird stone that it's brittle as shit, but it's some of the best cutting material out there. For some reason, if you get an edge on obsidian, it actually is some of the best shit to work with. So you could have Native American nappers That's the term for when you work on stone to make blades. You could nap a scalpel, and it would work probably as well as the cheap ass stainless steel ones. Now, admittedly, you'd probably want to put it in a fire for a bit. Yeah, you need $10 to survive on plasma. I love it. Oh hey, they remembered forceps. Fun fact: that's forceps are the thing that allowed a lot of children to not die in the birthing bed. Seriously, if you want to have a massive revolution in terms of people not dying, you're gonna want forceps because they allow you to grip baby and not have to do horrible things to either save the mother's life or the baby's life.
Hey, I'm here.
Uh, we went through a bit of a weird tangent. Did you know that infrared goggles are cheaper than telescopic rifle sights?
Why?
I don't know, but did you know binoculars are cheaper than a pair of shovels?
Why?
Because the mole people. Chat told me. Also, radios for some fucking reason still use vacuum tubes.
Because it's cinematic. Because it's style.
Well, you see, vacuum tubes have some of the clearest and most beautiful renditions of how the voice is recorded, even though radios that existed that were manufactured like that were stopped being made since like the fucking 70s. I I'm probably wrong on that, let's be fair, but still there's a reason why transistor radios became a lot more common. It takes $10 for blood plasma. Oh, little Jimmy got shot in the face and will die from lack of blood pressure in his vein. $10. $10 to put a pint of plasma back inside to prevent him from immediately cardiac arresting on the spot. The best way to cheat the market is to get your antibiotics in your personal medical kit. What? You're right.
Wait, what?
You're you're right. You get 1 unit of antibiotic, which is what the fuck? What the fuck?
Wait, I'm missing this. Where are we?
Oh, I'm on page 24 because
I find it.
it's pretty normal. Oh, I love this. A fucking aspirin. A fucking dose of aspirin. Ah, you gotta spend $5 for that one pill of aspirin. $5 for that aspirin. Meanwhile, you pay $100, you get bandages, a dose of antibiotics, and other materials. As for a doctor's medical kit, you get 10 uses. Other equipment, 20-liter jerry can for fuel and other liquids. 4-man tent, 10-man tent. Horse tack, pack saddles, pack, flashlight. Shelter half, a rubberized canvas sheet which can be combined with other sheets to form a tent. That sounds horrible. You why get a tent where you can get half a tent? Get half a tent. It's the same price as just getting a fucking tent. Oh, the top price is 100 unit. Yeah. For 100 doses of penicillin, it's 500. Sleeping bag $50, which means that a pair of binoculars using advanced optics to actually make for 4 times zoom is half the price of making a fucking bag that you curl up in to sleep before the dinosaurs rip you out of it and eat you alive. Cold weather clothing is $100. It doesn't matter if you're skinny or horrendously obese. Square footage of fabrics doesn't matter. Parka is 150. Scuba gear. They can still make scuba gear. You're really telling me? Okay. In this post-apocalyptic society, you're really telling me that they still have the metallurgical skills to make something that won't explode when you put hideous amounts of air pressure in it. Have you ever seen what happens when a pressurized tank bursts? I've seen people shoot open a scuba gear. It zips like a fucking rocket. That is asking to get destroyed. Rebreathers. They can make rebreather. Okay, so they can still make rebreathers. What was the other thing that made my brain kind of like have a minor? Oh yeah, they can still make Semtex C4. They can still make that just fine in the post-apocalypse. No, they're not like using. By the way, they're not using like stocks from before
Well,
Randall.
no, some of this stuff is.
Some of it is, but not C. No, but you can still buy C4.
Ah.
So that means that there's still it's not like a rare thing that you can only find. You can literally just buy C4. So I think that's the logic. Melee weapons. Here you go. The knife, a bayonet, spear, club, hatchet, machete. Yep. Oh, they have toilet guns. Oh yeah.
Oh
Zip
boy.
gun.
Oh.
This is a primitive one-shot firearm jury-built out of pipe, wood, and other non-standard materials. It is designed to fire standard ammunition, usually small caliber pistol ammo. The end result is the same. Uses a 38 special. You consider that small caliber pistol? 38 special, small caliber.
Kinda.
You got bows, crossbows. For some reason, the Mauser model 1896. For some reason, just like in the United States, there's a bunch of fucking
Because
people.
it's cool. Because it's cool.
38 special, standard 38 special, the fucking Magnum, 44 Magnum, 9mm. It is very rare, but has the advantage of being almost as powerful as some rifles. So, yeah, you can still get some of these. Pistols are of little to no use against animals in the Xenozoic era. They are almost exclusively used to kill other people. This limits their use to criminals and a few members of the tribe who are in positions of authority. Many of the old bloods, for example, carry pistols, as do guards. The 38 Special is a common handgun because it was the standard firearm for U.S. air crews, including helicopter crews. Mainly because they don't want to use the Colt M19, the Colt 45, because fuck that. How exactly?
Hello, I
Hey.
just got back from benching 500 pounds at the gym. How you doing, y'all?
Hey, Biggs, we're doing fine. We're covering Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. The mole people taught them how to make C4. GDW made Twilight 2000s, explains the use of specific weapons. Oh, yeah, Games
Here
Design
now.
Workshop.
Hello.
Hey.
I hear you fine, Biggs.
Sorry, it's just I had a weird fucking glitch where my fucking audio wasn't coming in.
Oh, don't worry.
Sorry.
That's been a problem. That's been a problem earlier.
So yeah, I got back after squatting 500 pounds, 5,000 pounds at the gym because I'm a very strong boy. Any cute ladies out there want to give me a kiss?
No, but here's pistols and how they're only used to kill people because they don't work on dinosaurs.
Are these okay? So like I know the basic gist of like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. It's a roll of cold, the game.
Yeah.
But the question is, like, are these mutant dinosaurs, magic dinosaurs? What brand of dino did we bring to this world?
So scientists invented a gas that just randomly evolves creatures really fast, lol. And they came back. They came back after the world specifically had an earthquake in every fault line area ever. And humanity lived in fallout bunkers where at first the rich people ruled and then the machine people took over. The old bloods. Humanity is one gear in the life cycle. Interesting you can fire a 38 special out of a 357 chambered gun. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same round but shorter.
A popular sport, 3030, a popular sporting arm before the Cataclysm. It's fairly common, but badly underpowered for dinosaur hunting. The 30-06, another popular hunting rifle. The 30-06 is a bolt-action rifle. So this would be like your Springfield O2s. Also, the same 30-06 was also used by the M1 Garand and I think the M14 or whatever the hell Buard tried to shove down our throat because fuck using the Fen Fal. You don't understand the 30-06. We gotta still use it. Parker Hale. This well-made civilian hunting rifle is also used by the Canadian Army as a sniper's rifle with the addition of a telescopic sight. You know what the Canadians also used? The Ross rifle. You know, the sporting rifle that, because it had a very loose bolt action, would randomly just blow back and fucking brain you. I think a person actually died from that too. I know eyes have been lost. Mauser bolt action rifle, a bolt action civilian version of the German World War II rifle. Yep, Car 98K.
I wish I knew what guns were. All I just know is I want one.
You know it's insulting. They don't have the Nugget. They don't have Mosin Nagants.
Well, this is before it didn't become like a meme in like the mid 2000s. So I mean, a little early for that, friend.
Because if you actually are going into what guns were available to the U.S., we got a lot of fucking surplus Mosin Nagants.
Yeah.
Like even before the fall of the Soviets, they were distributed after World War II, namely as a hunting rifle. Double-barreled shotgun. It's most widely used hunting weapon in Eastern Europe and also exclusively in the West. So if you're playing Dinosaur Land Eastern Europe edition post-Soviet fall, this is what you'd probably be wielding. Pump actions, they're commonly used in Western Europe. Semi-automatic shotguns. The scatter gun. Radically cut down double-barreled shotgun.
Mad Max gun.
I'm noticing that they don't have the other types of gauges. Because there's other types. There's 14 and 16 gauge, which is pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also the 10 gauge, which is where if you just really fucking hate someone.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're wondering how gauge
I'm
works,
surprised that I'm. Go ahead.
For those of you in chat who aren't like gun weirdos, gauge works in that the smaller the gauge, the bigger the shell.
Yeah, it's how many I think it's like how many of the pellets it fires does it take to make a pound of lead?
Yep, and the stupidest size I think was there was a 2 gauge
Yes.
elephant gun thing. It's like the size of a fucking car, and it just destroys everything it hits. It is absolutely impractical, but if you're gonna have to fight a T-Rex, you just put that on the wall of your compound. The T-Rexes are attacking. Jervis, get my 2 gauge elephant gun. What were you gonna say before that?
No, I would. Never mind.
Elephant guns. Now I want to do a. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna bring up the 2 gauge, but yeah.
Elephant guns. Now I want to do a safari hunt of dinosaurs. You know, rolling tempo is always my favorite part of the Lost World Jurassic Park. You know, the white hunter guy who's like, I just wanted to kill a T-Rex because I'm so bored.
Yeah.
Punt guns meant for commercial waterfowl hunting. If you're using a 2 gauge shotgun on a fucking duck, what's the fucking point at that point?
I always felt it weird that the hunter guy he just left in the middle of the movie.
That's because the Tipo
died. It was always weird to me that he just left.
That's because one of the few people he still had in his life died. Tipo died for that.
I don't know. I felt like he should have came back and used his hunting skills to stop the rampaging T-Rex at the end.
Well, you see, what happened was it was written by and filmed by Steven Spielberg and not that mongoloid Colin Trevorrow. who would have the T-Rexes actually be a genetic crossbreed to actually be used by the military, even though animals used in that respect would get fucking wrecked by something as simple as a 20mm automatic cannon. Just
No, you don't
fucking them down.
understand. They're going to be sentient, and they're going to be able to operate guns. Dinos with guns. In fact, if we're lucky, we might be able to see them in this fucking book.
Dinosaurs
It
with
turns
guns
out
would be
it's
fun.
all. It turns out like it's all like a retarded DARPA project that's the pet project of some important general, and he's been wasting like billions
That's
of
literally
dollars.
the plot of Lost World Kingdoms. Like
But did they
the
have
first
guns,
Colin
though?
Trevorrow movie. They have the Indominus Rex. Literally, Dr. Henry Wu was like, "I made this because the U.S. Army wanted the ultimate super dinosaur. It has thermal vision. It can hide its heat signal. It can go invisible because that's how chameleon camouflage works. Am I right? And it's intelligent because we used raptor DNA. And an earlier iteration actually had human DNA."
Cool.
And then the second movie, there's a bit where the fucking genetically mutilated dinosaur that was beaten all of its life to be a monster, it winks at the camera. It actually winks at the camera as it plays dead.
That was the weirdest fucking thing to me, Rich. Yeah, it just smiles at the camera.
No, it actually winks too.
God, those sound terrible, but like funny terrible.
Oh, well, what if I told you too that the main bad guy was Buffalo Bill, Randall? Well, not the main bad guy.
He was basically Buffalo Bill.
Wait,
No,
wait,
that was played by the same actor, I think, right?
It was, I think.
Wait, the guy from Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah. He collects
one.
teeth. He collects teeth.
Yeah, because he wanted to get like the tooth, and like they said, oh yeah, this thing's human, and it was playing dead, and it's like, oh, I guess the dinosaur just fucking died.
My
and he just
favorite
goes
part.
in, and then
My favorite part from that entire retarded series of events was when it got shot multiple times, and like a really bad sci-fi movie, it just ignored the bullets because Colin Trevorrow threw a fucking tantrum at people making fun of the plot of the first movie. I'm not even fucking with you. He does this in the second movie. He spends about 5 minutes not like complaining, but trying to justify, well, you see, wasting tens upon tens of millions of dollars crossbreeding an animal, creating an animal in a genetics lab that would instantly get wrecked by a Bubba with a fucking 8-gauge shotgun.
No, it'd be funnier if like midway through the movie, the army showed up, basically to the rest the guy who's been wasting all the taxpayer monies and just kill everybody involved, so this doesn't get leaked and embarrass them.
That would have been funny, or oh god, I don't think you could save the weaponized dinosaur thing. That's just the stupidest thing you could do.
No, treat it as a retarded DARPA project that became like the pet project of some senator and got way out of control.
I mean, at least in this setting, the reason dinosaurs are a thing is because they were desperate to try to find a way to sustain their human population through food. So they created like a very quick evolving gas that's designed to like rapidly rebuild this population of random species, It just so happened because it did rapid evolution, it accidentally recreated dinosaurs and shit. See, that's at least stupid, but in a way that you can kind of roll with, like, oh no, this was like supposed to survive, like regrow trilobites and shit to eat, but dinosaurs were a side effect. Not, okay, let's waste $1 billion, $1 billion, which that could have been used to build an aircraft carrier or something, on a fucking genetically engineered dinosaur that got wrecked by a fucking T-Rex and Chris Pratt on a motorcycle.
All right, that's enough ranting. We got to get back to
no.
I
think Jurassic Park is pretty fitting for this, though.
I like the first Jurassic World.
Hey, remember in the second
nice.
movie when the second part of Jurassic World 2, Dino Crisis, is done by Paul W.S. Anderson? Remember when he tried to justify, well, animals were used in war all the time. Plague rats, horses, cavalry. There's an actual part where where the filmmaker tries to refute critics saying, why the fuck would the military do this? Like, don't get me wrong, the military wastes a lot of money. We spent millions upon millions of dollars. What he should have done is said this. The military can be stupid. What can I say? We spent tens of millions trying to figure out psychics were real, and they weren't.
Yeah.
That's all they had to do. If Colin Trevorrow said that, you know what? I've been like, all right, bet. I could see
Yeah.
DARPA doing something like
It's
this.
it's literally just military bloated incompetence.
Like it's the same reason that we tried to train dolphins to blow up bombs and attach bats to explosives to destroy Hiroshima.
It's the same reason we tried to make a gay bomb.
We tried to shove a spy camera up a cat's ass to track the Soviets, and it got ran over by a car. That's an actual thing. They built
Yeah.
a cat cyborg.
Operation Acoustic Kitty.
They
Operation Acoustic Kitty.
They legitimately built a cyborg cat. It ran out to do the mission, and the first street it crosses, it got ran over. See, if they framed it like that, if they just said even have the DARPA guy kind of go, I think that some of it could actually be valuable, T-Rex ambush predator sort of thing. Or you train them with a person so they work like attack dogs, but they're smarter. Like one part beast of burden, one part attack animal. That's stupid, but then you could say, look, I think it's stupid too, but I'm getting paid for this.
Well, it's the psychological factor.
It's one, it's psychological. Two, I'm getting paid for it. And three, we fucking wasted money trying to prove psychics were real. I'm not complaining about my job. Just make the dinosaur.
Anyway, speaking of making the dinosaurs, let's get back to this.
Sorry, I think it's topical.
Yeah, it was funny. But
Please excuse Adam's autism. It's really crippling, and he rants about stupid shit.
I do. The 460 Weatherby Magnum. It's the most powerful rifle cartridge ever produced. You've not seen the fucking elephant gun. It was designed to bring down elephants. An integral muzzle brake and reform stock help absorb some of the recoil, but it's a shoulder bruiser to fire. Only a handful of these weapons have been recovered from the vault, and they are handed down from parent to child as priceless family treasure. Hey, at least some of these you can't recreate, like this thing.
yeah, it does list a price though.
Which I guess maybe some of those can't be recreated, but it feels like they can be, which is a little weird.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you got the 60 caliber Nitro Express. Yeah, this thing is also an elephant gun. If you have this fucking thing, yeah. This is what I was basically saying. Oh no, the Indominus Rex has appeared. Get my elephant gun. Satipo, get my elephant gun. I'm going to mount a genetic monster upon my wall.
You fuck!
Actually, how'd you feel if that white hunter from Jurassic Park 2 came back to hunt instead of the big dumb fight between the T-Rex and the other guy?
He will. I mean, they already
no
got
more Jurassic fucking Park. We gotta do Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Fair. The M70 African. It is only slightly less powerful than this other elephant gun. By the way, if you're wondering, it does damage 6, which I think means it fucks your day.
Yeah.
It also just shrugs through at least 2 to 4 of your armor. Yeah, they're greatly prized by hunters, obviously. And here's another copy of the M70. Look at all of these an elephant gun with a sniper rifle.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Yeah, this thing is what you use if you really fucking hate your dinosaur. The submachine gun and the example they give is the Uzi. That's fair. Uzis were pretty widely distributed.
Yeah.
The M16. You can get an M16. Although the tribe has not recovered any of these, examples exist in the vaults, and contacts with the moles might be able to secure one. Remember, the moles are the pre-human, advanced underground cave people race.
The Vril.
The M60 machine gun. So yeah, you're I get what they're doing. This is the tribe you're specifically from. Like, yeah, you're not getting most of these unless you're like old blood and shit. The Nitro Express is a gun that is put into extremely golden cabinet since you need that kind of money to get a hold of it. Not surprised. Not surprised. They did not make many of these. It is mainly for really rich people. The M72A1 Law, an anti-tank weapon.
Yes.
Well, well,
Imagine,
hey, we got to.
imagine murdering a Stegosaurus with this just because you fucking could.
Oh,
Okay,
don't hurt
imagine
the poor
shooting a
Stego.
Tyrannosaurus Rex that's murdering half of your tribe with it. 66 millimeter anti-tank rocket. This is the thing you just bust out if either to commit hilarious amounts of overkill over some wildlife, or because bandits are attacking you. Oh no, do these actually use cards? Please no. Oh no, these are just the common vehicles that you'll find.
Yeah.
You
I
got the
actually do kind
Cadillac.
of like the card layout because you can like Xerox them and then cut them out and have a little stat sheet there.
Oh, that's the idea.
Yeah, I actually really like that.
Like if you're gonna have to use cards, this is fair. And they even give you was it travel movement, combat movement because that's different, fuel cap, which is how much you can put into it, and fuel conservation, which is consumption. I mean, in units of slither gas per period. Slither gas. What's slither gas? Did they explain that? Yeah, we'll find out. Vehicle weight, gross weight, including fuel but not cargo, crew, and maintenance number. So this Cadillac, the reason they put it here is because this is like the eponymous Cadillac from Xenozoic. That's what the main character
Mhm.
drives. And it's pretty fucking souped up if you can't tell. These are Tenrek's personal property and he does not normally allow others to drive them. So yeah, you're not touching that, fuckers. Here's the tank trailer. This is just where they store their gasoline. The cargo truck, which that looks like a... You think that's you think that's like one of those Ford models that were eventually repurposed from like the 1950s?
Yeah, I think so.
Like it reminds me of the Soviet trucks, which were made based off of a Ford model from the 30s. Yeah, this thing is, if you're wondering, this thing is was often used by like early infantry and just to carry grain and a lot of other things. This was like your old school. This was like your old school 18 wheelers. Back in the day, our truck transportation routes were not as big. In fact, actually, one of the fun things is our cargo trucks have gotten bigger, which have actually fucked up our bridges. What do you mean we're putting that much weight on the bridge? It was built in 1942. It's not able to handle that much weight. Oh fuck, it's collapsing. Which actually did happen in Italy a couple of times.
Ooh.
In their defense, they didn't expect trucks to get that big, and also it's Italy.
Yeah.
You know a
It's
lot of
Italy is
corruption.
an excuse.
You know a lot of corruption went into making sure it got cheaped out on a bit.
Well, we got to keep going. Keep going.
No, we're fine. We're fine. One tuck, the cargo trailer, horse broken. Horse unbroken. So basically, this is the horse you use if you've actually trained it. This is the horse that you better hope won't kill you.
Yeah.
So this is the apocalypse. Why is there money again?
Gold. Rather than what Fallout did, which was in bottle caps, they were like, well, we still have gold as a value. Same
Huh.
reason gold would make a reappearance if any apocalypse happened. It's consistently valuable.
Mhm.
Instead of it being in dollar, it's what's called gold dollar, which is basically just how much gold is what you have to pay for. Or in this case, it would also, I think, count for silver, which means you get to revive Bilon. You know what Bilon is?
Isn't that just mixing gold and silver?
Actually, it is using copper to cut how much silver per weight is in a thing. Basically, the less silver you use in Bilon, the worse value it is. It's mainly used for lower denominations.
Oh god.
Buck broken. No, don't say that. There's nothing involving insecure egos here. Carts and wagons, obviously. Small open dugout boats, like your canoes and your rowboats. The artist clearly doesn't really know how to draw those, if you can tell from the perspective on that, but he tried.
There was an attempt.
Oh, this one actually has other things too. Like, see, it has stuff like tonnage, hull armor, waterline armor, superstructure, propulsion. There's a sailing boat that I think was actually traced from some 80s cartoon. Might actually have been Pirates of Dark Water. That's a lateen sail thing. Fishing boat. A felucca.
Boop, 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 boop.
Oh, please tell me they actually have. Oh, they even have health for it. See? Oh, that's actually
Dead
cool.
and
Ah,
For boats, they do.
sunk.
yeah.
That's cool. Half speed, dead in water, sunk. Also, feluccas, large sail-powered. No, they're not large. Feluccas are not large. Maybe for the post-apocalypse it is, but to give you an idea. Okay, so a felucca. This was what you would consider a light raider. This was actually commonly used by pirates, especially in the Mediterranean. It also was a light cargo ship because they're relatively fast, so you can ship small amounts of spices. This is what a relatively relatively not poor, but like a merchant might have used.
Huh.
Another similar related ship is called the Jebek, which is an Arabian take on it. That one's a bit smaller. Small motorboat. So, a small wooden-hulled pleasure boat. Jack Tenrick has renovated one of these and uses it for travels between his garage and the city. And the governors also have a small power boat. The medium motorboat. Yeah, these are. This is something you're never gonna get, by the way, because this is like for the tribe.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised they don't have like a frigate. Like, as the final boss. Like, I know a frigate's not that big, but it's bigger than a felucca. And actually, they have cannon holes? So I guess I'm surprised they don't have things like cannons, because
Yeah.
cannons are not that hard to make. In fact, actually, you can make cannons out of wood. Tree cannons have been a thing since like the early medieval period. It actually leads to one of my favorite myths, which is a Hungarian village during the invasion of the Ottomans. Essentially, they had a person who was a dabbling siege engineer try to make a couple of cannons to defend the town from Ottoman raiders. The problem is, if you're working with wood, you have to know how much pressure it can contain. During the first test shot, it exploded and apparently wiped out half of the town with splinter shards. But no, you can make cannons out of trees. Actually, you can make mortars by digging a hole in the fucking dirt. Like, I dig a hole and then I put a thing in it and then I just blow it up. The referee. The referee is the key to a good game. Referees must play every NPC, resolve critical events, describe the world, and guarantee an interesting and exciting time. The most important rule to remember, though, is they're the ultimate arbiter of what happens. Like the umpire in baseball, referees are not to be argued with while the game is in session. So, yeah, if you try to rules lawyer, the referee can just shut you down. You should try to be reasonable and fair, but their job is a very tough one. What do they do? And here's what a GM do. Preparing for the gaming session. This doesn't just mean buying munchies. Each adventure session should be part of a larger general plot and should present the players with 2 or more choices. By the end of the session, you should be able to figure out which one they will take. That's not fucking happening, people who write this book. I have you any one of you would know. Okay, here's some possible paths they go. As soon as you list them out, the party's like, "Oh yeah, well, we're gonna go the complete opposite direction of all of those paths." And then you got to figure out what the fuck to do after that. Some advice for novices. If you've played RPGs before but never refereed, it'll take time for you to get a feel of the world you're running and to get a sense of the flow. Here's some ideas, all right? These exercises are a training course. The people in your player's characters have had months, often years of experience living off the land. Okay, what the fuck are we? Rewards and experience, contacts. Oh, here's post-apocalyptic. No fucking clue what city it is, but I like it. I don't know why they're not using random comic panels anymore. Early in the book, if you're wondering, guys, they use like random out of context bits from the comics. And there's no reason they do it, but they just did it because they could. My guess is they had permission for some of it. Skills and task resolution. So this is how the actual system works. Each task you require a D10 roll against equal to or under the character's relevant skill. So basically, highs are bad. Highs are good for your stats. Like, let's say you have a strength of 6, you need to roll 6 or under to make something work. There's also things called difficulties, which, how does this work? If the engine, easy, average, difficult, how does this improve it? They don't actually say yet. Useful skills and attributes, abbreviations, difficulty, asset, okay. Determining success. Roll if the task is average, roll against the asset itself. If the task is easy, multiply the asset by 2 and then divide by 2. What? Returning to the mechanic, if he had a mechanic skill of 4, he would need to make a D10 roll of 2 or less. What the fuck? Oh, that. Oh. Oh, what?
What?
Wrong.
I'm trying to understand how the success system works. So you take your stat number, you take your skill, like you have a mechanic skill of 4, right?
Yeah.
For an average test, you need a 4 or less to succeed. For difficult, you have it, so you need a 2 or 1. But for easy, you double it, so you only need an 8 or lower. Too much math? Yeah, my brain, I get it, but what the fuck?
I don't get it.
The character has
Keep it
strength
simple,
7.
stupid.
Dividing this by 2 gives the character a target number of 3 for success. What? So you round... Oh, you round down because it's harder. But what if you double... Sorry, my brain just took a big shit. What the fuck?
Jesus Christ!
What the
Why?
fuck?
Just use the Just use the fucking. Just use the fucking skill number.
You know what I thought it was gonna be originally? I thought you would have been like, oh yeah, if it's easy, just add like +2 to your, just subtract 2 from your result, right? So your number's lower. But no, you have to have it. And then there's other possibilities too. Average, metallurgy, or difficult. Engineer means the same task can be performed using either asset with different difficulty levels. Finally, various mathematical formulas may be used. Oh god, my brain. Difficult. Agility plus thrown weapon uses the sum of 2
I
as...
love how needlessly complex this is. This is really like 90s game design.
Difficult.
Or 80s
Metallurgy
game.
plus
This is
mechanic
80s
divided
game
by 2.
design.
Why? I don't get it. It doesn't help that it's like in a big fucking block, and it doesn't... What? I know I'm absolutely being stupid here. Additional difficulty levels. Oh, fuck. It is possible for the referee to describe tasks more or less difficult than the 3 categories here, or intermediate in difficulty. Simply divide or multiply the character's asset by larger, smaller, or intermediate numbers. Help me. Help me. Help me. For example, a very difficult task might require dividing the asset by 3. A task intermediate between easy or average might multiply by 1.5.
Oh my god, this is like a parrot. Oh, this is like a
I'm starting to see
parody
why
of
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs
OD&D.
isn't a household name in the RPG industry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mark Schultz. The
What
sad,
the fuck, man?
the sad thing is, creating a character is dirt simple. I very briefly went through that. Basically, to do it, all you do is you roll for your age because you pick a career, right? You roll 3d6 to add the number
Yeah.
of years you've been in that. That gives you the skills you basically already have, and you enter it based on your stats, which you roll 2d6 minus 2. And if you get under 30, you just put in the excess. Like if you get 28 points, like adding all 6 together, oh, you just get 2 points you put wherever. And determining what your stats are determines what job you can get. It is really simple to make a character. It is fuck difficult to determine whether or not you've succeeded or not.
Yeah. It seems like that. It seems like in game design there should be the opposite. Or
It's
at least,
weird because it's almost as cursed as the A Song of Ice and Fire RPG in some ways, because that one's also kind of complex. But that one actually makes sense. You want to know why? Here's how the system works, okay? You get a number of die based on things you have. Like, let's say you're really good at punching dudes in the face in A Song of Ice and
huh?
Fire, or you stab them real good, right? An example stat line you could get is roll 66, keep 5, and re-roll 1s. It's complex, but
Hmm.
like your skills get added and either add or remove dice or allow you to re-roll shit dice. Or you pick
Yeah.
the better stuff. Because you always pick the best results out of all of your shit. It's still complicated, but I get that, especially since it breaks it down bit by bit. This is one big fucking wall.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Outstanding success. If a character attempts to complete a task and beats his target number by 4 or more, they have achieved an outstanding success. Wait, does this mean there are like some stats where you just guarantee succeed since you're rolling a d10?
Probably.
Like if you have a skill of 5, wouldn't an easy just always auto succeed no matter fucking what? See, that's why I don't kind of get it. I thought maybe here's the system I thought it was going to operate on. You add your stat plus your skill, and then I don't know. You set a target number based on the difficulty rating. Like let's say you
See
have a
that?
strength of 7 and martial arts of 5. That gives you a 12. That means in most cases you can succeed, or like you have a strength of 7. Like let's say easy is like 5 or 6. Like it operates on the Vampire the Masquerade and the World of Darkness, where you have a difficulty number you have to beat. Although the reason that's simple is you just use dice pool.
Yeah.
I'm having a brain aneurysm.
Yeah. This is amazing. This is like amazingly bad.
From chat, I could understand rifts better than this. Oh. Oh, Dios mío. By the way, if you failed by at least 4, roll again with the same required roll. If you fail again, you've suffered a catastrophic failure. Catastrophic failure should not be overused. In a great many tasks, there should be no obvious effect of a catastrophic failure. For example, a geologist who fails to find an iron deposit should not also break his leg.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but what he should do instead is accidentally drink parasite-ridden water and scream, "Oh Jesus," for the next 3 days. Skills and associated tasks. Not all skills and tasks are discussed here. They are described in other rules and are not repeated. The other uses are fairly obvious. The uses of attributes, for example. However, some skills require further explanations. Biology. Make antibiotics difficult. Oh, yeah, I studied the life cycles of velociraptors. Here, let me make fucking penicillin for you. Let me make fucking penicillin for you. Or amoxicillin. Yeah. I study whales, fucker. Oh my god, my brain. See, here's the thing. Antibiotics should go in the chemistry skill. It should, because antibiotics, while it's pharmaceutical and uses organic substances, it requires you to know how to actually distill the chemicals into a format that actually
I
allows
like
you to. Ah!
the mood has changed.
Yeah.
I thought this was gonna be fun. Where did fun go? Why?
It's now become a different kind of fun. A pointed laugh fun.
Chemistry. This skill can be used to synthesize many useful substances. Meaning, oh, you know what this means? You're gonna run into so many assholes who are like, hey, can I use my chemistry skills to make insert bullshit chemical substance that allows us to trivialize this fight now? Hey, can I use my chemistry skill to make 20 pounds of Semtex explosives? Oh, they actually do have that, by the way. Also, in just random parentheses, gunpowder can be used in appropriate single-shot weapons, while smokeless powders and primers are needed to reload ammunition. At least catastrophic failures are truly catastrophic. Disguise. The main ingredients of this skill are not grease paint and false mustaches, but acting skill and confidence. Oh, you're fucked. Wrong group of people. Driving. Cross off ground without bogging down. Average. Okay. Electronics. Make a radio receiver or transmitter. That's all you can do with electronics. I make radio work. You can't, like, I don't know, fix. Oh, God. I'm having a headache. Engineers. This is used to construct buildings and to excavate and operate underground shafts, mines, and very Kleinian. This opening sentence for engineer.
Yeah.
The skill is used to construct things such as bridges and buildings and to excavate and operate underground shafts, mines, and caverns. Very Ready Player One. It also carries with it a knowledge of explosives. Failure results in times and materials overrun. Oh my god. You could tell where the person who wrote this just kind of went off the fucking ranch.
Yeah.
Also, you like how they gave up on putting art in the book?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It just gets worse and worse. Amazing.
Do you think what happened is they wrote this as they were paid and they just ran out of money by page 30?
Probably.
Catch fish without adequate equipment. Catch fish. Forge signature if example is available. Alter doc. Oh, okay. Locate workable ore and mineral deposits of coal or iron. Other metals. Gunsmith. Fit telescopic sight to rifle. Average difficulty. Are you fucking with me? Are you actually fucking with me? I'm having a fucking stroke. Interrogation. Oh my god, my head.
Yeah, I'm crashing with this tonight. I'm
Mountaineering.
bailing. I'm in the eject. Bye.
No, come back, Randall! I can't do this alone! I've been letting you pick up all the slack!
What the? My brain stopped working. Fuck.
We've given up like a quarter of a way in.
You have to use cards. You have to use the random deck of cards now for NPC motivations. Hey Biggs, do you want to know what I'm gonna do instead? We have
No.
we've got about 2 hours. I could just call it here, but don't worry. I have something just really short we can look at. Don't worry, chat. I have another
Is it
book we can
porn?
look at. No, we would get destroyed, which in a way might be better than continuing this nightmare. But I'm just gonna get a random quick book because yeah, let's not go to the dinosaurs now. Let's look. Hey chat, hey Biggs, what horrible book should I look at? Ben Dunn's Ninja High School? Cyber Kittens Project Bakaneko? Dead Inside? The Gummy Bears RPG?
Gummy bears RPG.
My Brain is a Stick of Butter? Ninja Burger? The Zardoz RPG? What glorious books should we look at? Oh, there's
You
even
made
more.
up that last one. There's no way there's a fucking Zardos RPG. Who
Oh,
the
there
fuck
is.
remembers Zardos?
There is. Allow me to show you, you unfortunate fools.
Well, no, let's to be fair, let's give the fucking chat a chance. Don't let my dumb ass redo it.
Okay, chat, what do you think we should look at? And while that's going, the Zardoz book. Okay, that's a one person for Zardoz. Don't worry, I have other horrible books, and there's no way in hell we're ever gonna read the Zardoz book in full. Let's see. I also have a random book folders, which is what I keep other books that just aren't complete fucking dog shit or weird. Hmm. Oh yeah, I forgot I have made the RPG. I keep forgetting about that one.
Yay.
Okay, that's 2 votes for Zardoz, and also since Biggs agreed, here we go. Zardoz, get ahead. Patience Edition, thanks to the Google Plus OSR community. So this is the result of Google Plus. Frankly, I'm not even entirely sure what parts of the movie are about. No one does. They don't remember what they did. Zardoz speaks to you, his chosen ones. You've raised up from the brutality to kill the brutals who multiply and are legion. To this end, Zardoz, your god, gave you the gift of the gun. The gun is good. They forgot the second part. The penis is evil. So, contents. Let's continue. The intro log. Hail, readers, to this roleplay module. Welcome. We are all players here, actors, gamers, hosts, explorers of the magic carpet rides of dice and imaginations. I wrote this module for one simple reason. I thought it'd be hilarious. Fair. The module demolishes the constraint of overland travel so important to many role-playing game books until the wizard discovers how to fly or teleport, and replaces it with the shenanigans players would invent once they have control over flying head. By the way, the reason why they're talking about transportation is a lot of old school roleplay gamers. They get pretty anal about making sure that things take as much time as they should, ranging from travel. Because if you have like a death clock on your situation, basically time in game should also kind of equal time out of game. That's like an actual thing some people in OSR believe in. That's why he's kind of doing that. They got the license for this in 2020, apparently. Apparently, Wanderer. This module demolishes the constraint of overland travels. If you're hosting a game and agree your player seizing a flying head would be hilarious, then use the module as is. If you prefer to leave him crawling on the surface of the terrestrial orb or plane or what have you, then insert a self-destruct switch in the head and end the module with a wild scramble for safety. So basically, fuck it, you get a floating head. The village had a name. It needs none now. Charred walls, smoke rolling, flickering flames. The hero stop. The least charismatic hero treads on a half-burnt plush terrier doll. The good spirits cringe. Cries for help resound. You can't help them all. The heroes have a choice of where to help. A youth blubbers in shock, barely coherent. Aldous. Aldous is their name. And you have to pick which person to save. And then from there, cry and clue. So this is like almost a choose your own adventure, you'd say?
That's what I was about to say. This is like one of those books I used to get at the library.
It has a
No, this is a choose your own adventure. Where's the role play?
fires die down. Survivors creep back. Well, the idea is the guy expects you, the DM, to kind of fill in the parts without.
Now, here's the question. Now, is there equipment for like a cod piece? Because I know that was a very prominent thing.
If there isn't, I'm going to be disappointed. So here's some of the things that you can pick about for clues. Here's the floating Zardoz head. You must track the head. Yeah, this is almost exactly like. Oh, I get it. It's supposed to be a freeform. Like it's expecting the GM to kind of pick which direction, or to have the party pick what they notice. I think it's kind of lazy, but on the other hand, I kind of respect that the dude just kind of shat it out. It's like, there you go. You know what I mean? I don't hate this like I do Chalt. Maybe it's because the guy's just kind of focusing on one particularly stupid theme, or maybe it's because he knows what he's making, and he doesn't want to just. He knows what he's making, and he knows and basically expects you to kind of fill it in. Sean turned down Lord of the Rings because he didn't understand fantasy, but he said okay this drug-inspired setting. I think if I remember right, I think he actually still hated playing James Bond more than he did the Zardoz film. Like if I remember, I think it was
it
that.
because like it's probably because he really liked how tight that cod piece was.
Oh no, it's because he didn't have to expect to fucking play James Bond. I think he might have thrown a fit on set because people started asking him about that. It was either that or the set of Highlander 2. I remember at one point he was reduced to cursed invectives and threatening to fucking knife a person or something. Because that's how much he hated playing James Bond by the end. So yeah, it's essentially a choose your own adventure book. How strong?
Neat.
The Raiders are just strong enough. 4 life, 1 hit die. A Raider should fall with each blow, but they're pretty good shot. So, and they also kind of go, well, fuck it. Like, do we need stats for this? No, this is cinematic. Here you go, fucker. These guys just suck. You hit them hard and they die. The chickens are fast but fragile. Scout Golem is the same. Big, dangerous, but fragile. Speed is their friend. Pitch battles, no.
I'm just now realizing I never watched the fucking Stardust movie. To be fair, I don't think anybody has.
No, people have. It's just not worth it. When 30% of the raiders are dead, they retreat to the outcropping and summon the head. It arrives after 1 turn. When 60% of the raiders are dead, they mount their chicken birds and flee. Want to abstract it? Skip all the detailed combat fighting? Sure, show the table to the heroes and roll a d10 for each turn. You could literally fast track the combat. What the fuck? Oh, Imset's apparently seen it. It's a trip. I just know that Zardoz comes from the fucking Wizard of Oz of all things. And it's like supposed to be some deep fucking meaning. Talk to the raiders. The gun is good. The seed is evil. It brings forth life. Parasite. It's just random fucking quotes. Talk to the raiders if you're stupid. The exterminist raiders. There you go. There's the raiders. The brutal raiders, cannon fodder. The pop-up rod. The magic gun rod. Use 2 hands and send scarabs of lead. So whizzing, piercing, popping short lifers like rancid grapes. Like blood-stuffed ticks. Skilled with using a rod or maybe a zappy one, you'll figure them out. They're easy. Pop rods do as much damage as a greatsword and have more range than a longbow. They eat brass amulets and spit out husks like pips. Oh, and they shout. They shout so loud when they shoot. So I'm not a fan of him not statting out the gun in an easy way. You get what I mean? Like you could have done like a little stat chart here for the gun.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of it. It does allow you, however, to get an idea on how to stat them. Riding chickens, like overgrown ostriches with wattles and combs, teeth like a fox. So you get your chickens. They don't actually give any details about their health. Same with the scout golem.
I'm sorry. Can we talk more about riding chickens?
Yeah, riding chickens. I think
I
that
don't know why.
actually might have been a thing from Zardoz, but I don't remember
Oh
that
wait,
at
isn't
all.
that just Chocobo? Now that I was thinking about it, isn't that no?
I mean, it's basically it's like an 80s crack version of Chocobo. Like if you made Final Fantasy into an 80s dark fantasy movie and had the director smoke some crack before designing it. It's like I want a giant riding chicken. Like an ostrich? No, a gigantic chicken with bat wings and teeth. Oh, the champagne. Wait, why is George Orwell writing this? This has the dialogue down to the point where I think this guy was on the same drugs John Borman was. That might be why I'm liking this more than I liked Chalt. Because A, he's not wasting our time. He's just kind of quickly going through. And
Yeah,
B,
that's what I was about to say. They're just flying by this shit, aren't they?
yep, and B, he clearly actually cares about matching the tone of the movie. Because this feels like I smoked some fucking amazing DMT, and I'm about to get haunted by machine elves and the spiders that live inside my eyeballs. Set pieces and problems. What are you gonna say?
No, it's just I don't know why. Just that whole eyeball thing made me laugh because I'm a child.
So, heading toward the floating head, surreptitious and quiet, the heroes approach. Have them roll at least one d10. For each sneaky idea of the heroes, they roll another d10 and remove the highest number. For each loud idea, you remove the lowest. So, and then you get some weird. Oh, I just remembered what this reminds me of. This reminds me of the Qwools. If you've ever heard of Qwool theory, it's really fun. It's basically let's have an abstraction of reality argument. Where it's like,
No, please, God.
yeah, let's just speed run this. So you get the head. Rippo the head. The angel Rippo flies. The angel of death speaks with the roar of brazen bell. Its anger is thunder, fire, smoke, giant prehensile beard tentacles. The face of an ancient god, all noble, all knowing, all grim, all outrage. Its cold visage, its mouth a line of hate, shout of hate. Headdress blue and gold. Up close, its surface is rough and ancient. Ripto talks, Ripto does. Not a battle yet. Perhaps the heroes observe it? Rippo speaks to you as chosen ones. By the power of death, you've been raised up from life to perfection
I
from the
don't know what the
mutating,
fuck is going
proliferating
on.
multitude. You are made to kill and hunt and feast. To be the angel legion, the leveler of the tillers and sowers and destroyer. Rippo gives you the gift of the pop rod. The pop is good. Cry out, the pop is good. Love is evil. The seed is evil. New humans are the virus, the eaters of earth, the chaos that destroys peace. You are my children. I have created you, made you whole and immaculate. So here's the thing, Biggie. I've not seen all of Zardoz, but I've seen the intro. That is actual lines of dialogue from the fucking movie. Now they don't call them pop rods. They call them guns, and they don't use seed. They use penis. But this is
I
verbatim from the fucking film.
maybe I should have just jumped like Randall, because fuck me, it's just
Battle. Rippo destroys. So this is what happens if you try to fight it. But you can't enter inside of it. And when you go inside of it, you go into like this weird thing. Oh god, this is literally basically the plot of fuck. Is this the fucking plot? I think this is the fucking plot of the movie. Oh dear god, it is. I think. Oh Jesus Christ, it's an actual fucking dungeon too.
So was this some jackass that made? What are the origins of this exactly?
So the dude is like, hey, let's make a shitpost adventure module using Zardoz because Zardoz is a drug nightmare of a film. The gas chamber. There's gas chambers in this thing. What's the gas chamber have? Nasal control. Someone removed the title pages. Perhaps they're a serious. They are. It's the Wizard of Oz. That's the meme. Yeah, this is the fucking. I think this is the fucking plot. That's actually kind of weird and cursed.
You get to play as James. I mean, whatever the fuck his character's name is.
But after going through the dungeon and cleaning it out, you get a flying head that allows you to do whatever the fuck you want. Like why walk when you can ride the floating head wherever the fuck you want? New challenges, and he comes up with random new challenges. You know what? Is it ended? No, my precious world, you've broken it. Should cry no referee, no game master ever. The world is not yours, it is your table. It only lives in by play, suspended in a scintillant net of playful imagination. The players you included make it and remake it and unmake it every time you meet. Let it change, breathe, grow, suffer, wilt, die, and breathe again.
We're going with the Thigmato approach of GMing.
A little bit. I think it's more along the lines of don't throw a fit because you fucking chose to insert this into your thing. Authorial authority. Do not trust authors. They use words. Words are tricksy, lying things. They twist, flutter, and get all funny when you mix them up and try to use them on another person. The author pretends to authority. The game designer pretends to create a game for you. These are just toys. Toys that players bring to life at your table in their own way, using tricks and hacks learned from a dozen games, 100 movies. Embrace it. Make the toy your own. Break it, fix it, and change it. So he's basically saying, this drug nightmare I made? This drug nightmare of an adventure module I made that starts off essentially as a choose your own adventure?
Mm-hmm.
He said basically in that one little area, yeah, I don't give a fuck what nightmares you then turn into this with. Like, whatever stupid bullshit you want to insert into that, sure, go right the fuck ahead. It's your table. Either as the GM, like, do you want the gas chamber to not be just that? Do you want it to be like the clown brothel? Sure, you can do that. Do you want the crew quarters to be designed like the fucking Cenobites, like we have such sites to show you pain racks? Sure, you can do that. Do whatever the fuck you want. You're playing tabletop games. You're out there to have fun. The beginning of the movie as Sean Connery enter the giant head, no dungeon, just flies to a hidden society of decadent, ageless immortals. Yeah, I feel like it's essentially the movie, but done as a speedrunning, like, quick dungeon. You know what? I'm kind of glad that we decided to stop reading Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. What about you?
Tonight's been a shit show. I
Oh
couldn't
God,
pay
yes.
attention, and my ADD made it so I can never understand these rules ever.
Oh, I understand. So what was your? I know you weren't really there, but what was your thoughts on Cadillacs and Dinosaurs before it?
Man, hot damn! I wish that world would come back. That just seems like such a great rule. And after I heard what I did was like what the creator basically sacrificed in order to make it as big as he could.
Yeah, it was a passion project, and on top of that, there's stuff that actually worked. You weren't there for character creation, but it's really fast, like simple. Here's what you do: you basically you pick, you roll your age, and then you roll how long you were in a career, right? So you start at 17, you roll for how long you've been in it, add that. Then you roll your stats, and you need to have a stat of at least 1 in anything. So you do that. If it's under 30, just add what you want. And then you look at what you have stat-wise and then determine what type of job you pick. That gives you your skills. And bada bing, bada boom, you're basically done. It also gives you your equipment. I think it also determines how much money, gold dollars you start with, too. Yeah, like, doesn't that sound really simple and fast?
Simple-ish, it sounds.
Yeah, it's not bad. The problem is how combat and skill tests work. And like you can tell they really care about the equipment because to give you an idea, they actually for an engine for an explosives kit, like a demolitions expert kit that you'd use either in the military or for construction work, they list everything. They list the caps, they list the wires, the primers, the screwdrivers, the pliers, the fucking drill bits that you use to insert the explosives. They do all of that. And then they make how skill tests kind of just needlessly complicated. And while they give kind of examples, it's not really divided well. Imsit, Cadillac and Dinosaur needed laser guns. I want post-apocalyptic warriors riding fast cars, shooting raptors with their laser guns. Well, the problem with that is it's based on a comic book setting, and that was not the style that they wanted. So, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, what would you rate it? Because I think I'd give it playable. Like,
I give
there's
it a.
stuff in
I
it
give
that's
it a.
fine.
I give it a just run it in a GURPS out of 10. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Run it into GURPS or use the paranoia system. Because that could be a really goofy paranoia game, like you're outside a friend computer's influence, and it's just a high lethality, stupid game. What do you rate the Zardoz Nightmare Adventure?
Uh, I'm gonna be honest, man. I was spacing the fuck out. It's just all the shit I was hearing, man. It was like I'm just imagining fucking. Oh god, I already forgot the actor's name. I just keep wanting to call him James Bond, man.
Sean
Because let's
Connery.
be honest, it's all yeah, Sean Connery.
I'm not James Bond, god damn it.
How about okay, man from the
I'll
League of
slap you
Extraordinary.
harder than I did my wife if you don't stop.
Okay, man from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I demanded $1 million to play Bond because fuck that character. And then that's the last thing he ever did in life was just play a shitty animated version of James Bond. That's the last thing he ever
That
did.
fucked a goat.
Yeah, he did. As for the Zardoz one, I think that one, I'd call it decent.
I mean, it's a fan project, and rarely, there are a few rare times I would ever really say shit about fan projects
I'd say
because
I'd say decent, and here's
it's
why. It's kind of what Derek tried to do with Chalt, but it knew when to get in, when to get out, and its structure wasn't that bullshit. And also, he kind of rocked in entering up front saying, I mean, Derek does too, but this one literally is, look, pal, I wrote this as a literal shitpost. Like, you get what I mean? So I can't really hate it as much. He wrote it as a shitpost, and he openly admits, hey, you can take this piece of shit and make it however you want. It's your game, buddy. Take it or leave it.
yeah, no, like I said, I can never really criticize fan projects. I mean,
Oh, I can.
fuck, it's pretty cool he made it.
Oh God, I can. I am a very criticizing bastard. I I think it's because he also kind of captures the drug nightmare of Zardoz and literally either quoting from it or just writing it in the weird, almost insane, I don't give a fuck way that film kind of was. Like I said, I've not seen the whole movie, but I've seen the opener. I've seen part of it. And it is drug nightmare. It is a fucking drug nightmare. So that's unfortunate that I liked the Zardoz module more than Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Oh, that's depressing. So next week, more Hardwired Island? Oh, I think I scared him away from that. How about this? Since Cadillacs and Dinosaurs was a complete failure and Valentine's Day is rolling up, I have been saving. I have been saving for a while. A very special video. I have been saving my attempt to create a fatal character. So what do you think, chat? Do you think I should upload that instead? Or do you want more fucking Hardwired Island?
You know what? I want the chat to feel my fucking pain. I want the viewers to know the hatred I feel. I say unleash that nuke, and I don't care what the viewers want. Do it.
Ah, so fuck it and just use that as our way to escape.
Yes.
Well, you heard it here. Especially since this is a bit of a disappointment. I'm uploading the fucking Fatal episode next week. I don't know if it's going to be on Valentine's Day or on our usual upload time. All I do know is that I won't spoil anything because you need to see how a Fatal character is made to understand how fucking painful it is to make. So, have a good night, and guess what, Biggs? We didn't go 3 hours this time.
I just wow, that was a did not expect to see that happen.
Yeah, night everyone. Oh, before we leave, feel free to like and subscribe or whatever, but more importantly, to any new people, we have a Discord link. It is in our description. Feel free to show up and mourn the loss of a potential. Well, I don't know. Like it's flawed, but I think they at least made a working game. It just wasn't very good. But feel free to show up. We talk about random stuff. So have a great night, everyone. Fatal's next week for you. I'm sorry.